you can't figure out how to fix because it came from the start.
Right. You know, well, and I'll pose the same question to you, Bruno, right? When you're creating any work of art, what do you generally tend to find yourself focusing the most on? You know, would you say it's composition, contrast?
Yeah, like it's shifting right now, right? As I'm actually learning about other ways that I should be looking at my composition from the start, right? Like you said, composition, and yeah, like for example, you know, the process of starting with the thumbnail, you know, maybe keeping in mind some kind of a line of composition that already works, you know, like trying to stay you know, in tune with that to give myself a better chance of a better composition. And then right after that, I'm looking at the contrast, like you know, like is my foreground gonna be the lightest or is it gonna be the darkest? Is my background gonna be the medium or the lightest or the darkest? Same thing, right? And I try to make those decisions, and then accordingly, you know, I start to shade in, right? But this is something recent that I started to implement into my process because I found out about you know, some theories of composition regarding the lines of composition and also the different tones that the different layers will have, right? So, but I come from thinking about the line work, to answer your question, thinking about the line work and the line aspect of it first. You know, that's where I come from.
Okay.
But I'm shifting that.
That's a natural enough place to start. You know, I think that's like in any traditional apprenticeship, it's, you know, almost a given that you're going to start with that, because this can be the first thing that you do when you start tattooing somebody, is putting down that outline. And I don't know, it was I was given sheets of flash to shade and color, but you know, I mean, the line was such an assumption, you know, and it's just as important, you know. I just each of us can arrive at it at a different part in our process. How you guys doing?
Hey Guy, how's it going?
How's it going, Guy?
Hello, Guy.
Hey, Guy, doing good, doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm trying to get caught up. Sunday is get caught up day, and I'm. Oh yeah. Well, I haven't touched my homework here, so that's got to happen. But there's also like 48 litter boxes and, you know, that kind of thing.
And then
Standard life stuff.
Yep. Hey, cats are awesome, but yeah, they could be hard work picking up on those kitties. But you know, I ain't trying to complain.
I like what you're saying. I think with what we're talking about, like, that is one of the hardest things to break away from is, you know, you tried to create line work so clean and so solid for such a long time that you've become practiced at it so much that it's one of the first things you think of whenever you start to draw or paint.
And of course, we still want to create that beautiful line work, but you know, I think one thing that's really been revolutionary for me, and this might sound like a small thing, but I can be pretty deep into my design process and still look at it and say, huh, let me go into liquify and nudge this around a little bit more. You know, I could be shaded and colored, you know what I mean? And realize that's just the wrong curve there. You know, it really removed a limitation.
Right.
You know, rather than having to really have this stuff figured out early on. I mean, you still want to try, you know, but you still have that chance to make, you know, semi-major executive decisions without having to do full redraws.
Yeah, that liquify, since you brought it up and I started playing around with it, it's been like super helpful. Yeah, like I don't really see myself not using it, you know, like every time, at least for a little bit.
Yeah,
great tool.
You know, even if I like a drawing, it's useful to at least, I can always think of something that I can make bigger and something that I can, improve the arc on. And, it might even be very subtle. But I always like, after I've done it, to, undo, redo a few times to just really see what kind of effect I've really made on it, and if it was worth it, if it was positive, or if I should do it again, but less so, or, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, Liquify and Warp have become very good friends of mine. Sometimes I like using the Warp tool a little bit more so over Liquify, just because I find that it can help change a few things at once that might need to be adjusted, without having to go in and be super specific, but it also keeps things a little bit more in proportion, as long as it doesn't get too crazy.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's more
So,
general. It's a
yeah.
general thing, and Liquify is a more specific thing. So it really depends on what you're doing. If you wanted to, increase the size of the head of a character, Warp is probably going to be, better for doing that without like accidentally changing the face too much, or whatever.
Right.
Just changing the size of it a little bit, because everything sort of expands proportionally. Where with Liquify, you're really getting in there and surgically nudging around the design as if it were on a rubber sheet.
Yeah.
Definitely saves a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm messing around with my mid-range, and I think when I'm doing it on a separate layer, and I think when I'm done with that, I'm gonna sort of Gaussian blur it to get rid of some of the brush marks, although I don't really care that much.